everyone, this is a tutorial for making a shark. We're going to trace a shark from an image that we find online, and then we're going to turn it into a 3D shape and kind of fix up the shape so it actually looks like the shark. And then in the next video, I'll show you how to do the textures. Then I just put in a fun background, but we'll go over texture painting so you can get different colors on the shark. And then if you're like me and want to paint on a face of the shark, we can do that too. So I am going to start a new file. You'll notice that my screen is showing the things that I'm doing. So clicking, everything should be showing up there so you can follow along with that. However, I'm using a Mac, so instead of control, you're going to see this show up for control. Okay, so I'm going to open up a new file. I'm going to do, it'll be on a PC, control new, general. I'm not going to save my shark because I didn't make any changes. Okay, so we've got a new file. I'm going to delete the cube, X and delete, and my keys aren't showing up. Hold on. They should be. No, I've got the keys showing up. Okay, so I'm going to go into front orthographic view. So I hit 1 on my number pad. We're going to keep it in this view as we're tracing. So we're going to add our image of a shark. Now, I've already saved an image onto my computer. I went onto Google Images and searched for shark profile. I'm going to put the picture that I used on our classroom, so you can use the same picture, but you could find a different one if you'd rather. So just make sure that when you find one you like, you save it onto your computer, maybe rename it something that will make it easy to find. So I'm going to add in that image by going, my shortcut is Shift A to add, and I'm going to add in a image as a background. So image background, and then mine, I think I saved it in my animations thing, shark profile, JPEG, and there we go. So it's loaded into my background. I'm going to resize it so it's bigger, easier to trace. So I hit S, and then I'm just dragging it. I'm going to make it actually a little bigger. There we go. So one thing you'll notice once you get it loaded as your background image is when you rotate around, it disappears. That's because it's only going to be visible in your orthographic view. So I think from, so yeah, so if I hit even top view, you can see it's like a line there, but if I go back to the front, it's still there. It's just, it's not available to see in your, oh, sorry, I'm scrolling. It's not available to see in your perspective views, only your orthographic, which is actually really good for tracing because yeah, we want to make sure that we're tracing it as a 2D image first, and then we're going to make it 3D by extruding vertices to, yeah, basically make the shape of the shark. So again, starting in 2D. So we're going to start by adding a plane, which is going to be the thing we're going to use to trace. So I'm going to go Shift A as my shortcut, and I'm going to add a mesh plane. Now it'll pop up and it's lying flat like that, which I don't want. I want it to be kind of facing the other way. So quick shortcut is to hit rotate and then X, because I want to rotate it around that red X axis. And then to make sure it's perfectly lined up, you can actually do a shortcut of hitting 90 degrees or hit 90. So again, if you missed that, I added my plane, and then I hit R, X to rotate on the X axis, and then 90 to rotate at 90 degrees. And now if you were to rotate around it, it should be perfectly at a 90-degree rotation. So back to my orthographic view. I've got my plane. I'm going to get into edit mode. I like my shortcut tab to get into edit mode. And then I'm going to start with these two vertices. Actually, I'm just going to start with this one. I'm going to hit G to move it, and I'm going to line it up just like right there, kind of on the top of the body, bottom of the fin. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to grab it, hit G, kind of line it up just right there, kind of at the bottom of the body. And same thing with these two. I'm going to hit G and just kind of move it over here somewhere. So this is the starting of kind of tracing the shape of our shark. So I've got it kind of lined up with the outside edges. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to take these two vertices on this side. So I'm going to do, I have my box selection on. If you don't, you can hit W as a shortcut to cycle through until you get the box selection I like having on. And so I'm going to select these two here by dragging a box around them. And I'm going to hit E to extrude them. In other words, making two more vertices. And then right away, you're going to be able to move those. I'm going to set this top one first. I'm just paying attention to that top one right now and setting it kind of along the edge of the body. And I'm going to set it there. That looks good. And I'm just going to move this one. So I clicked on this bottom one. I'm going to hit G and move it into place at the bottom of the body there. And then I'm going to repeat that step. I'm going to highlight those two. I'm going to extrude by hitting E, and then I'm going to move them kind of in line with the body. So I like where that top one's at. I'm going to grab this bottom one though, and then I'm going to move it up to being in line with the body. Notice how as I'm going each time, I'm kind of keeping them like similar distance apart. Kind of make it easier later on, but you're just going to basically keep going in this process. We have the basic outline of our shark. I'm going to save it. Control S. Okay, so we have the basic outline of the shark. Like I said, I skipped the fins because we'll go back and we'll do those later. So now if I scroll around, it's, sorry, my mouse gets sticky. So it's just a flat line shark right now because we're starting from 2D. So we're going to turn him into a 3D shape right now, kind of a 3D blob. So I'm going to go into top view. So I'm going to hit 7. I'll make sure all my vertices are selected by hitting A. And then I'm going to hit E to extrude those. And I'm just going to bring them back this way. Just a little bit. Probably maybe 2 squares worth. Something like that. So, hey, we've got a little bit of a 3D shape. Now, because the shark is pretty symmetrical, we're going to be applying a modifier that's going to make it that whatever we do on one side is going to repeat on the other side. It's called mirroring. But before we do that, we're not going to want to have all of these faces on the inside of the shape. So yeah, so basically it's gonna mirror this side over onto the other side of the x-axis, but I don't want all those faces there. So a quick way to do that, I want to be in orthographic mode, but I want to be on the back side. I don't want to be viewing from the front. I want to view from the back. So I think I can do Control 1. We'll flip that around. So I just hit Control and number pad 1, and now I'm onto the back side of the shark. So I want to delete all these faces. Quick way to do that is to go up to your selection type. So right now we're on vertex selection. There's edges and there's faces. So I'm going to go to faces. And then I'll draw my box selection, and that'll select all those faces. And so if I scroll around, just kidding, it selected the top faces too. 1 second. So if I go back, undo, I'm on the back view again. I'm going to switch my view to the circle selection, and then now I should just select all the back ones. There we go. Nope, I still have these ones, so I'm just going to hit Control, hold down Control to unselect. Okay, so I'm just making sure I've only got the back ones selected. There we go, I've got it. I'm going to hit X to delete, and I'm just going to hit faces to just delete the faces. So now we've got this shape, and you can see it's got no faces on that one side. So we're ready to mirror this. So if you go over onto the properties tabs, the blue wrench is the modifier properties. And I'm going to add a modifier called mirror. And you can see right away, not great. It mirrored on my x-axis as the default. So I'm going to unselect that, and I'm going to select the z-axis or z-axis. And then look at that. Now we've got it mirrored. It basically copied everything from one side to the other side of the axis. So one more thing you're going to want to turn on is clipping. And all that does is make sure that if I were to grab something over here, it wouldn't be able to cross the center line. So see how it doesn't get dragged across the center line? It basically just stops it from moving over. I'm just going to undo that. Okay, so I've got my thing set up. I'm going to save it, Control S. Okay, so we're ready to kind of fix up the shape of this guy. So I'm going to go just into front view again. I'm going to want to subdivide this because right now it's going to be hard to make adjustments just with the amount of subdivisions I have. So there's a couple ways you can do that. If you hit Control R, it brings up this option to make loop cuts. So you can see this yellow line where those are showing up. Those are, it's going to make a cut. So if I cut right there, and then select where I want it right there, it made a nice cut. Because remember that one, I didn't really have it evenly spaced out, and I like it evenly spaced. So I'm going to do Control R. I'm going to make a cut right down the middle. I'll place it right about there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the top. You could always just subdivide it by selecting all and right-click subdivide, but I like this method just to be a little more precise. So I'm going to put one right in the top, right about there. And I'm going to add another one there as well because we're going to be doing our fins, the top and then the side fins. So I'm just going to add a couple more cuts there. Oops. Undo that one because I didn't place that one very well. Try it again. You have to click twice to place it. So, okay, there we go. Got some more cuts. So I'll save it again. Let's get back to the front view like this. So you can see I didn't add the top fin or the side fins. I'm going to start with the side fins. So if I were to kind of spin this around and go look at the bottom, by the way, shortcut for looking orthographic view at the bottom would be Control 7. So I can see I've got all these cuts. Now I want to make my fins so that they're just kind of sticking out the side of the shark. So I don't want to have these middle parts included when I go and extrude the fin. So I'm just going to click on my vertex selection now. So I switched back to vertex mode. So I've got the dots back. So I'm going to scroll around and look and see where my fin is. So go back into front view. Okay, so my fin is right here. These are the 2 points I want to extrude. So I'm just going to select those. Oops, sorry. Hold down Shift to select multiple vertexes. Or I've got my circle selection on. I could just drag it over both of those. So I want to kind of make these two go along with it. So I'm going to hold down Shift and select those. Now if I go back into my front view, I'm going to hit E for extrude. I'm going to drag them down and I'll just pull them to right about there. So that's going to be where my fin is going to be. So if I look from the bottom, there we go. We've got just those two parts coming down for the fins. Now I want to shape it into the fin just like how I did with the body. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to select my X-ray view on. That way when I make selections, I'm not just picking the front vertex, I'm picking the one behind it too. Because remember, I've got that vertex in behind. So I'm going to grab those and I'm going to move them to the shape of my fin. And then same thing over here. And so it's selecting the one in front and behind. Yeah. I'm going to select all those vertexes again and I'm going to extrude them again. Bring them down maybe to there and then grab, move, grab, move. And then I'll do that one more time to get to the end of the fin. So E for extrude, pull it down, grab it, move it, grab it, move it. Okay. And yeah, so I've got the shape of the fin. They're not in the right position. We'll deal with that later. but I've got the shape of that fin. I'm going to go and do the same kind of thing for the top part here, for this top fin. Except for this time, instead of getting the outer edges, I don't want the outer edges, I want the kind of inner part, because the fin would be like on the top middle of the shark. So I'm going to go and I'm going to deselect some of these guys. I don't want all these. I'm just going to kind of pick the middle part, because I'm going to have a kind of a narrow fin up there. So I'm going to hold down Control, and that deselects all those vertices. I'm going to select the ones in the middle as well, because they're going to be included in the fin. So now if I look, you can't see them, but they are selected. I'll hit E, and I'll be able to extrude and bring those up. And same thing, I'm going to move, grab, move, maybe to there, grab it, move it to there. Okay, so if I looked, that's what my fin would look like right now. So I'm gonna just grab these middle ones here actually, because that'll make a nice little point for my fin. And then grab them and move them up. Maybe I'll move these around a little bit too. But you can see we've got the rough shape of the fin now. So if I grab it and look around, there, we've got a lovely fin. I'm gonna repeat that for these other little guys down here. So I want this spot and this spot for this little fin. But remember, I don't want all of these, so I hold Control, get rid of those. That looks like a good spot for that fin. Back into top view, E for extrude, and then move down, and then I can move these. And I'm just gonna move this guy right here, and move these guys right there. I might move these ones over a little bit to get that shape a little better. And let's see, there we go, that looks good. And I'll do this top one as well. Now, for this top one, I am gonna make another cut right around here so that I can get a good spot for a vertex to pull up into that one. So I'm gonna do Control R, make my cut there. I'm gonna slide it to where I want it, so that's probably a good spot right there. I also don't really like how this one isn't quite lined up with where I want my fin to go. So a quick thing you can do for that, if you want to just like slide a vertex over, in this case I'm going to slide all those vertexes over just to keep it all even. There's the shortcut Shift V. This didn't show up on my screencast, but I held Shift and V, and then it allows you to slide. So I'm just going to slide them all over a teensy little bit there. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same steps I did above. I'm going to select all these, and then I'm going to deselect these ones. That's going to be a good spot for that fin. And then E, extrude those up, and select, grab, and move around. Grab, move around. Okay. I can do this one as well. This little fin. I don't want all those. And then back to front view. Grab, move, grab it, move it. Okay, looks rough, but it looks good. I've got pretty much all the things in place. I'm gonna fix up this fin in a second. I'm just gonna save it. So to fix up this fin, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these vertexes and move them over, or I could have done the slide thing as well, but I'm just going to pull them back like this. And then same thing, I'm going to pull these back over here. I'm going to move these back a little more. And then this guy I'm going to grab, and he's going to be like the point of my fin there, because I've got pretty good angles now. I'm going to move this one over just a teensy bit. There, that actually looks pretty good. So, save it. I'm just going to turn off X-ray view for a second so you can see it when I rotate around. We've got a shape of a shark. He looks lovely. Now, you're probably noticing he's looking a little stiff and angular, and his fins aren't really sticking in the right direction. So what we're going to do now is basically shape it to kind of narrow the parts that need to be narrowed, because he's not going to be all one thickness all the way through. So I'm going to go into top view for this part. I'm going to turn my X-ray back on, And then I'm gonna put my box selection back on, so that's W, and then I've got my box selection now, you can see. So let's start with the very end of the fin. So I'm just gonna grab these vertexes here, and then if I hit G and Y, it's gonna move only on the Y axis, and it's gonna pull them in a little bit. Sure. I'm also gonna turn on proportional editing, which you hopefully are a little familiar with, this little target at the top. Remember, it kind of pulls vertexes around it. So if I hit G and Y again, now I've got that circle, and I can make my circle bigger to pull in more. Sure, that looks good there. I think I need more of my fin pulled in though. So back to 7. I'm gonna get kind of all of these boxes here, G, Y, and pull them in. Maybe not all those ones because I was getting some of the body too. Oops. Yeah, so it's a little narrower. I could probably go even more. There we go, that's probably better. I'm gonna do the same thing for the mouth, and is that good? Yeah, about there. And G, Y, pull in a little bit. And then I'm gonna do just the very end of the mouth a bit. Pull that in. There, that looks pretty good. I'm also gonna do this for the fin at the top because it would be kind of narrower as well. So I selected those. I'm going to go back to top view now, and then G, Y, because I only want to select that. I'm going to make that smaller because I don't want all that. There, kind of made it more of like a point at the top. I'll do the same thing for these ones. This guy. Box select those. 7, G, Y, and then I'm just going to pull those in too. Could also merge the vertexes at the top. Like if I just wanted this to be a point, I could select this one, select this one. If you right click, you get merge. I'm gonna merge at the last one I clicked because then that'll merge right in the center. Now it's got kind of more of like a defined point. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna do that for the bottom ones as well. These guys down here. And I'm gonna go to bottom view. So that was Control 7, GY, pull them in. Good. I'm gonna go and do this one as well. Bottom view, G7, or sorry, Control 7. And there, it's kind of looking like a shark. Control S. Okay, let's fix that fin as well. So for this one, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna select all the vertexes of the fin. Then I'm gonna go into front view. Oops, sorry. Wrong view. I'll just go like this. I want to pull them out to the side. So I'm gonna hit G, and then I'm gonna hit X. Nope. Undo. G, Y as well, and then that'll pull them out kind of this way. Let's see, somewhere around there. I'm gonna rotate them as well, so that they're kind of more like fins. Here we go. I think I'm gonna move them again, move them up a little bit. I'll narrow these guys down a little. Have all those selected? Didn't get this guy. Okay, and then let's resize that. Sorry, so not G. I'm gonna hit S to size those in. Bring those in a little bit. Maybe I'll do that for these guys too. Bring those in a little bit. Okay, let's see what this shark is looking like. I'm just gonna turn off X-ray mode. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay. So I feel like I've got a decent shape. I kind of like where the fins are at. I like where everything is. I can go and check and see. It's laid out pretty nicely. I maybe brought this fin up a little bit, but I think it looks good. So you can select all, hit A. Back in object mode, so I'm going to hit tab. I'm going to shade it smooth because right now he's looking very angular. So if you right click, you get shade smooth as your top option up there. Look at that shark. Lovely. I also don't really like, he kind of looks like he's still sort of a box shape. So I'm going to go back to edit mode and front view. I'm going to select all the vertexes kind of along that edge there. So I'm going to go back and get my circular tool. And I'm going to select all just these ones along the edge. Like what would be kind of along the top of the shark. I got some extras I don't want in there, so I'm going to hold control. I don't want those guys there. So I've kind of got the edge. And then I'm just going to bring them down a little bit, and that should kind of round it out a little bit more. So if I hit G and Z, you could also slide them down, but go around there. I probably don't actually want this one in there. G, Z, bring that down a little bit. Okay, let's see what that did for the shape. Yeah, he's a little more kind of round. And yeah, you could keep going like that. I could do the bottom part of that too to make it not so round. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like that. I've got a shark. There we go. Got the outline of a shark. So the next video, I'll show you how to do the painting to make it look like he's got kind of more realistic shark colors on it.